For centuries, gardeners have wrestled with one of nature's quiet contradictions, the compost pile. It can be both the heart of a thriving garden and, at times, the source of unpleasant odor that signals imbalance. Yet ancient growers from Japan to the Amazon basin discovered a natural material that solved both problems in one stroke: charcoal. Not the commercial kind soaked in chemicals, but pure, carbon-rich activated charcoal, known today as biochar. This simple ancient substance doesn't just remove smell, it transforms compost into a high-performing soil amendment that holds nutrients, stabilizes nitrogen, and feeds microbial life for years. Why activated charcoal works where other compost additives fail. Odor in compost comes from anaerobic activity, a lack of air causing nitrogen-rich materials like kitchen waste or manure to break down incompletely. When that happens, ammonia and sulfur compounds escape as gas, signaling a loss of fertility as much as an unpleasant smell. Activated charcoal reverses this process through adsorption, meaning it captures those gases within its microscopic pores instead of letting them evaporate. Each gram of activated charcoal can contain thousands of square feet of surface area, creating a habitat for beneficial microbes and a sponge for excess nutrients. The ancient terra preta soils of the Amazon, still fertile centuries later, were formed through this same principle. Early farmers mixed wood charcoal into organic waste, unintentionally creating biochar, a soil additive that locked in fertility for generations. Modern gardeners can harness the same chemistry with tools as simple as a shovel, a fire pit, and a bit of patience. How to make and prepare safe activated charcoal at home. Making garden-grade charcoal does not require sophisticated equipment, only clean hardwood and controlled burning. Begin with untreated wood such as branches, prunings, or scrap from fruit trees. Avoid painted or pressure-treated material. Stack the wood in a small pit or metal drum, light it from the top, and restrict airflow once the outer layers begin to glow. The goal is to let the wood char slowly, rather than burn to ash. When about 3/4 of the wood is blackened, smother the fire completely using soil or a metal lid to block oxygen. After cooling, you will have raw charcoal, light, brittle, and filled with internal cavities. So, to turn this into activated charcoal for compost, it must be crushed and, well, charged. Crushing can be done with a hammer between two bricks or by rolling it under a heavy object until the pieces are roughly the size of coarse gravel, or, even smaller. Charging refers to pre-soaking it with nutrients so it doesn't pull nitrogen out of the compost. The simplest method is to mix 1 part crushed charcoal with 2 parts compost tea or diluted urine, then just let it sit for about a week. This process fills the pores with beneficial microbes and minerals, turning it from inert carbon into living biochar. Integrating activated charcoal into compost eliminates odor and locks in nitrogen. Once charged, charcoal becomes an active participant in the composting process. When added to fresh compost, it absorbs excess moisture, balances the carbon to nitrogen ratio, and prevents ammonia loss. A good, working ratio is 1 part activated charcoal to 10 parts compost material by volume. For instance, in a small home pile, this might mean adding a 5-gallon bucket of crushed, charged charcoal to every full wheelbarrow of mixed green and brown matter. Distribute the charcoal evenly throughout the pile instead of layering it in one section. This ensures that gases and liquids contact its surface uniformly. Within days you will notice a difference. Odors diminish sharply, heat stabilizes, and the texture of the pile becomes looser and more aerated. Charcoal not only prevents compaction, but gives beneficial organisms more microhabitats to colonize. These microbes multiply faster, digesting waste more efficiently, and converting nitrogen into stable compounds rather than gases. As decomposition progresses, that nitrogen binds permanently within the carbon matrix of the charcoal. Instead of leaching away in rain or evaporating, it stays stored for plants to access slowly over time. The result is compost that doesn't just feed plants for one season, but continues improving soil year after year. Using biochar-enhanced compost in soil creates long-term fertility and structure. When finished compost is mixed into garden beds, the benefits of charcoal extend beyond nutrient retention. Its porous structure keeps soil loose and breathable, allowing air and water to move freely around roots. In heavy clay soils, this improves drainage dramatically, while in sandy soils it increases moisture-holding capacity. For herbs and vegetables prone to nutrient burn or irregular moisture, such as basil thyme or tomatoes, this improved balance can mean the difference between steady growth and stunted performance. A practical application rate for enriched compost is roughly 1 part charcoal compost to 3 parts native soil. If building new beds or containers, work this mix into the top 8 to 10 inches where most roots develop. Over time, biochar becomes semi-permanent, persisting in soil for decades. Even as the organic matter decomposes, the charcoal remains as a scaffold for microbial life and a reservoir for nutrients. The improvement is, honestly, measurable. Soils amended with biochar hold up to 30% more moisture and 50% more nitrogen compared to untreated plots. This translates directly into stronger root systems, deeper green foliage, and improved drought resilience. And, because charcoal adsorbs volatile compounds, even compost-heavy soils maintain a neutral, earthy scent, without that sour smell that sometimes plagues unbalanced gardens. The ancient secret reminds us that, well, perfection in composting comes from balance, not force. The genius of using activated charcoal is not in complexity, but in harmony. It doesn't accelerate composting through artificial heat or chemicals. It simply restores natural equilibrium. Where too much nitrogen once caused odor and nutrient loss, charcoal restores carbon. Where microbial life needed shelter, it provides permanent homes. It is the same principle that guided ancient gardeners who learned to work with decay rather than against it. By returning this material to the compost pile, you are not just making cleaner, richer soil, you are rebuilding the kind of fertility that lasts through generations. Charcoal-enhanced compost requires no special upkeep, no repeated feeding, and no synthetic additives. It is low-cost, regenerative, and completely circular. Waste wood becomes carbon, carbon preserves nutrients, and nutrients sustain life. If this guide has shown you the quiet power of charcoal in composting, subscribe to Gentle Herb Living and share it with fellow gardeners. Every handful of carbon returned to the soil restores the living memory of ancient gardeners, those who knew that the blackest materials often hold the brightest promise for the garden's future.